Picture this. The golden sun of Thebes descends over the Nile, its reflection rippling like molten bronze. You stand upon a terrace carved from limestone, the scent of lotus and incense thick in the evening air. Beneath you, priests chant before the sacred river, offering prayers to Amun-Ra. But your thoughts are far from the gods tonight. You are about to be bound, not by love, but by decree. Tomorrow, your marriage will be announced before the court of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. You have not chosen your spouse. The gods, they said, have chosen for you. But you know it is the pharaoh's will that truly rules fate. The heavy fabric of your linen gown clings to your skin as you pace. You are a noble's daughter, raised within the high walls of the royal city. Your father, a vizier of renown, once whispered to you that even hearts in Egypt must bow to politics. A union, he said, is a weapon in silk. You did not understand then, but now, as servants arrange lotus petals for the coming ceremony, you begin to see the truth. Love, in this kingdom of gods and men, is never free. And before we continue, take a breath. This is Whispers of History. Where are you listening from tonight? Is it morning where the light touches your room, or night where silence folds around you? Wherever you are, let this story accompany you through the quiet of ancient palaces, along the banks of the Nile, and deep into the secrets of those who ruled not just bodies, but hearts. Subscribe softly, so you never miss another journey into the forgotten world that shaped our dreams. For tonight, we'll uncover how Egypt's mighty pharaohs controlled the most intimate of bonds, marriage. Beneath the glittering crowns and the sacred vows, every union was a thread in a vast web of power. Behind every bride's veil lay an empire's ambition. Behind every wedding song, a whisper of command. And for those who dared to love without permission, punishment waited, hidden in papyrus decrees. You watch as the sun dips below the horizon, torches flicker across the palace courtyard. From beyond the columns, you hear the rustle of silk, the murmur of attendants. Your mother enters, veiled and graceful. Her eyes meet yours, filled with both pride and pity. You must honor Pharaoh's will, she says quietly. To resist is to invite ruin. Her hand trembles as she adjusts your jewelry. Gold bangles engraved with lotus motifs, each a symbol of fertility. Yet beneath the gleam lies your fear. Tomorrow, you will stand before the God King, and your future will no longer belong to you. In Egypt, marriages were contracts as sacred as temple rituals. Pharaohs decided who could marry whom, especially among the nobles. A noble's daughter like you could not wed without royal permission. Every alliance was recorded in papyrus scrolls, sealed with the mark of the king. Some marriages united powerful families, others ensured loyalty to the throne. And then there were the royal unions themselves. Pharaohs often took sisters or daughters as wives, preserving what they believed to be divine blood. You remember hearing the priests recite, "The pharaoh is Horus on earth. His seed must remain pure." In these words, marriage became less about love and more about eternity. Pharaohs like Akhenaten and Ramses II married their own kin, believing they imitated the gods, Osiris and Isis, husband and wife, brother and sister. To love outside divine lineage was blasphemy. To desire freely was rebellion. The night deepens. You walk to the balcony overlooking the Nile. The air hums with crickets and the faint melody of distant flutes. Across the river, the Valley of the Kings, sleeps tombs of those who ruled before. You think of the countless women whose lives were decided in chambers like this one. Daughters of priests, generals, scribes, all offered like gifts to strengthen alliances. Some became queens, cloaked in power and jewels. Others faded into the walls of harems, forgotten before the next flood of the Nile. Your servant, a young girl named Nefer, approaches hesitantly. "My lady," she whispers, "the high priest has arrived." He brings the decree. You turn slowly, your heart pounding. The decree, written in ink dark as the Nile's depths, bears the seal of the pharaoh himself. As you unroll the papyrus, your eyes trace the words that seal your fate. You are to wed Horemheb, captain of the royal guard. You've seen him only once, a man carved from duty, loyal to the throne, his gaze cold as obsidian. Nefer watches your expression carefully. Is it the man you hoped for? She dares to ask. You force a faint smile. Hope, you say softly, is not a word for women of the court. She looks away, and you feel the heaviness of her silence. She knows, as all women in Egypt knew, the pharaoh's hand reached even into the chambers of the heart. In the temple complex of Karnak, priests once recorded a saying, "A union is blessed not by affection, but by order." Through marriage, the pharaoh ensured obedience. He granted land to loyal men through dowries, tied priests to the crown through sacred unions, and silenced rebellion with the promise of shared bloodlines. A marriage decree was as much a political maneuver as a military campaign. Yet even within such control, secret affections bloomed. Some women wrote hidden love poems on shards of pottery, yearning verses found centuries later near the Theban necropolis. "You are my perfume," one fragment reads, "and I am your scent that lingers." Such words were dangerous then, as dangerous as sedition, for if discovered, they could cost one's position or one's life. The moon rises high, painting the palace in silver. You close your eyes and listen to the soft murmurs of servants preparing your dowry linen, spices, a small alabaster jar filled with perfume from Punt. Each item whispers of a life soon to be exchanged. Somewhere beyond the walls, the sound of the river continues, eternal, indifferent, the same Nile that has watched countless unions forged and broken. And yet, deep inside, a quiet defiance stirs. Tomorrow, when you kneel before Pharaoh's statue to swear obedience, you will whisper your own prayer beneath your breath, not to Amen, but to Marat, goddess of truth. For even in a land ruled by divine kings, truth belongs to the soul. The drums begin to echo in the distance, the signal that the night's vigil has begun. The marriage chamber will be sanctified before dawn. You feel the weight of destiny pressing upon your shoulders as the last of the sunlight fades from your world. But then, from the shadows of the colonnade, a figure moves. Quiet, deliberate, unseen. You recognize that walk, the soldier from earlier that week, the one who met your eyes in the courtyard. You thought it a moment's glance. But now, as he steps closer, you see something that chills and awakens you both, a warning and a promise. He bows quickly, voice barely audible. "My lady," he murmurs, "your marriage is not what it seems." And before you can ask what he means, he vanishes into the night. The dawn breaks over Thebes like molten amber, spilling light across the whitewashed walls of the palace. You awaken to the sound of drums, low, rhythmic, ceremonial. Servants move like shadows, wrapping you in the sheer folds of linen reserved for brides of noble blood. Every motion feels distant, ritualistic, as if your body belongs to ceremony rather than to yourself. The air is heavy with incense and rose oil, and beneath it all, the echo of that voice from last night haunts you. Your marriage is not what it seems. The temple bells begin their solemn ringing. Outside, the streets bloom with celebration. Vendors chanting blessings, children scattering petals, priests blessing the union decreed by Pharaoh. But you stand silent before a mirror of polished bronze, staring into your own reflection. A queen's daughter in all but name, and yet a prisoner of tradition. The soldier's warning lingers like smoke. What secret could lie behind the Pharaoh's decree? Your mother enters, veiled again, her expression unreadable. "The Pharaoh himself has approved your match," she says. "Do you understand what honor this is?" Her tone trembles, half pride, half warning. You bow your head as you were taught. "I understand," you whisper. But inside, something rebels, a small, fierce ember of doubt. Before we continue, take another slow breath. Let the river's calm steady your thoughts. You're still listening to whispers of history, Tell me, where are you tonight? Under a blanket of stars or the quiet hum of city lights? Wherever you are, close your eyes and drift deeper into ancient Egypt, where power and love were weapons alike, and even hearts bowed before the throne. The wedding procession begins at sunrise. Trumpets sound, their notes piercing through the thick desert air. You walk slowly between lines of soldiers, each step an echo of those who came before. At your side walks Horemheb, the man decreed as your husband. His armor gleams beneath the sun, polished to gold, and though his face is stern, you see a flicker of unease in his eyes. When he offers his hand, it is cold, formal. You realize then, even he may not be free. In the heart of the temple, the high priest awaits beneath towering columns painted with the faces of gods. Statues of Hathor, goddess of love, gaze down upon you, their serene smiles carved in stone. Offerings of bread, honey, and lotus are placed before them. The priest raises his arms. By the will of Pharaoh, beloved of Amen, and by the blessings of the gods, this union is sealed. He motions for you both to step forward. As you kneel before the altar, your gaze catches something unusual. A second papyrus scroll beside the ceremonial decree. Its edges are marked with the royal seal of Amenhotep, but the ink upon it is still fresh. The priest's hand trembles slightly as he reads, his eyes flicking toward Horemheb with something close to fear. You sense a tension in the air, one no ritual can hide. When the vows are spoken, the priest whispers words meant only for you. Guard your heart, daughter of the Nile, he murmurs, his voice almost drowned by the chants. The pharaoh binds more than your union today. You look up sharply, but his eyes have already shifted away. The ceremony ends in a shower of music and incense. Dancers twirl, drums resound, and the guests feast on roasted duck, dates, and wine. Yet, amidst the splendor, you feel detached, as though the world moves without you. Horemheb remains courteous, distant, speaking to other nobles while servants attend to your table. At times, his gaze flickers toward you, not with affection, but with apology. Later, as the festivities die down and the desert wind cools the air, he approaches you privately near a colonnade. "My lady," he says softly, "there are things you must know." His voice carries the weight of a soldier who has seen too much. This marriage was not meant for you, it was meant for another one, whose family conspired against the throne. When they fell from favor, your father offered you instead to keep his place. You freeze, unable to speak. The realization crashes over you, your father's loyalty, your future, your freedom, all traded for survival. "So I am a replacement," you manage to whisper. He nods once. "And I, a pawn." In the hush that follows, only the wind stirs between the stone pillars. You think of all the women before you, Tai, the great royal wife of Amenhotep, who once ruled beside her husband, yet was said to manipulate every alliance in Egypt. You remember tales, whispered by servants, that she arranged the marriages of her daughters like pieces on a signet board, binding foreign kings through blood and beauty. And though she was revered, even she was not truly free. Egypt's marriage customs were threads in a grand design. Every union of noble blood had its purpose, to cement treaties, to merge estates, to ensure loyalty. For commoners, marriage was simpler, often recorded in contracts agreeing on dowries and property. But for the elite, the pharaoh's shadow loomed over every promise. No love could be declared without royal sanction. No separation allowed without his decree. As you and Horemheb walk through the moonlit gardens, your steps echo the rhythm of generations before you. "Why tell me this?" you ask. His jaw tightens. "Because," he says, "the pharaoh's seal on our marriage hides another purpose. You are being watched." The words fall heavy. By whom? "The priest who performed our ceremony is loyal not to your father, but to the queen." His eyes shift toward the horizon, where the great palace looms. Queen Tai fears rebellion, and your father's influence grows to great. By binding you to me, one of the pharaoh's most trusted men, she has brought your family under her gaze. It's a perfect web, elegant, invisible, inescapable. Marriage as surveillance, love as politics. You feel the air thicken, the scent of lilies turning suddenly oppressive. Then what are we to do, you ask? Horemheb's expression softens, just slightly. Play your part, he says. Smile when they watch. Speak when they expect silence. And trust no one, not even me. His words burn like a brand in your mind. Yet, as he walks away, you sense something unspoken between you, a flicker of shared understanding, of rebellion buried beneath obedience. That night, as the palace settles into stillness, you stand by the window of your new chamber. Below, the Nile gleams silver beneath the moon, eternal and uncaring. You trace the outline of your wedding bracelet, its gold cool against your skin. You think of how every union in this land, from pharaoh to peasant, carries the same illusion, that love is blessed by the gods, when in truth it is owned by the crown. Outside, faintly, a figure moves across the courtyard, the same soldier from before. He glances up toward your window, his expression grave, then disappears once more into the dark. Something is stirring in Thebes, something that marriage alone cannot contain. The palace awakens with the first light of Ra, its columns gilded in dawn's fire. You have barely slept. The dreams that came were filled with whispering corridors and golden masks, each one bearing the pharaoh's eyes. As the servants bring warm water and scented oils, you cannot shake Horemheb's warning. You are being watched. The words echo in rhythm with the priest's morning chants outside your chamber walls. Today, you are summoned to the royal palace itself. A messenger in white linen arrives with the seal of Queen Tai, great royal wife of Amenhotep III. The moment the wax is broken, your heart tightens. Few women are called to her presence without reason. The letter reads simply, "Attend the queen at midday. Come adorned and bring no escort." The preparations begin at once. You choose a gown of soft linen dyed faint blue, the color of rebirth. A servant combs your hair with a comb of carved ivory, weaving in threads of gold. When she is done, she whispers, "May Hathor protect you." You smile faintly, but the blessing feels more like a prayer against danger than one for beauty. Before you step through the archway, you pause for a breath. Whispers of history accompanies you, even now, across the sands of time. Are you listening from a quiet room, perhaps resting in the dark, or under the gentle glow of morning? Let the calm of ancient Egypt wrap around you. Listen softly, as if you, too, were walking toward the pharaoh's court, where one misstep could decide the fate of families, kingdoms, even love itself. The queen's hall is a world of shadow and light. Incense coils through the air, mingling with the scent of myrrh and cedar. Servants stand still as statues, and at the far end sits Tai herself, regal, unreadable, adorned with the vulture crown of motherhood and power. She gestures for you to approach. You bow deeply, the polished stone cold against your knees. "Rise," she commands, her voice steady as the Nile. When you meet her eyes, they hold an intelligence that both unnerves and captivates. She studies you for a long moment before speaking again. "So, the daughter of Pahari," she murmurs, naming your father. "Your marriage has pleased my husband, but tell me, does it please you?" You hesitate. "It is, my honor, great lady." Tai's lips curve in something like amusement. "Honor," she repeats softly. That word has buried more hearts than the Nile has pearls. She leans forward slightly. "You remind me of myself, when I first entered this palace, young, obedient, and already bound." Her words draw you in. You have heard stories, how Tai, though not of royal blood, became Pharaoh's most powerful wife. Her wisdom sought even by foreign kings. But few speak of how she gained such power. Now, standing before her, you understand. She learned to master the very chains meant to restrain her. Marriage in Egypt, Tai continues, is the pharaoh's net. It binds loyalty where armies cannot. Men think themselves masters when they sign the decree, but it is the women who keep the kingdom intact. She walks toward the window, the sunlight turning her gold jewelry into fire. Your father's ambition is known to us. He offers you to the throne not for love, but for protection. You are clever, I see it in your eyes. So tell me, do you understand the game you've been placed in? You lower your gaze. I am beginning to, great lady. Good, she says. Then you may yet survive it. The queen turns away, her gaze settling on a scroll lying open upon a marble table. Here, she says, is the list of royal betrothals for the year. 6 noble houses, all joined by decree. Do you know what binds them? Not love, not virtue, fear. Fear of losing the pharaoh's favor. Fear of being forgotten. She moves closer again, her perfume like crushed lilies and smoke. Your husband, Horemheb, serves my son, Prince Amenhotep, soon to be pharaoh himself. He will need loyal hearts around him when his father passes into the afterlife. That is why you were chosen. Your marriage is not punishment, it is preparation. The words leave you dizzy. Preparation? For what, my queen? For a world where love will become treason, she says quietly. And only those who understand obedience will endure. Her tone chills you more than any threat could. You sense the truth beneath her grace. Tai has seen betrayals that shaped the kingdom itself. She waves her hand gently, dismissing the attendants. There is one more thing, she says when you are alone. The man who warned you, the soldier, he serves another power. Keep your distance, or you may find yourself caught between gods and men. You freeze, she knows. Every secret in Thebes flows through her like the Nile through its delta. You bow deeply once more. I thank you for your wisdom, great lady. Tai smiles faintly. Wisdom is not given, child. It is bought dearly. When you leave the hall, the world outside feels altered. The air is brighter, sharper. Every glance, every whisper in the corridors seems to carry double meaning. You pass courtiers, speaking softly, their voices laced with politics. One mentions that the pharaoh is preparing a marriage alliance with the king of Mitanni. Another speaks of the prince's upcoming wedding to his sister Sitaman, to keep divine blood unbroken. Each word reminds you that love in Egypt is a transaction, measured in loyalty and lineage. As the day fades, you return to your villa overlooking the Nile. Horemheb is waiting by the entrance, his face drawn. You've seen the queen, he says. Not a question, but a knowing statement. I have, you reply, and she told me our marriage is preparation. He exhales, slowly. Then she suspects rebellion. You look at him sharply. Rebellion. He lowers his voice. There are whispers in the barracks, priests angered by Pharaoh's growing devotion to Amen. Families who resent the taxes on temple lands. The queen watches everyone, even me. If we misstep, our families will vanish like dust on the river. The words hang heavy between you. Outside, the horizon glows red with sunset, the color of both life and warning. You realize the truth. Your marriage is not the end of a struggle, but the beginning of one. Later that night, you find yourself unable to sleep. The palace is silent, except for the rustle of reeds along the water. You walk to the courtyard, seeking the cool air. There, beneath the moonlight, the soldier appears again. He bows, his eyes dark with urgency. You were seen with the queen, he says quietly. They think you're loyal to her now, but you must listen. The queen herself hides something. She plans to decide the prince's next marriage in secret. Why tell me this? You whisper, because, he says, stepping closer, that marriage will decide the next pharaoh, and the fate of everyone tied to this court. His voice lowers further, and if Tai fails, Egypt will burn. Your pulse quickens. Behind you, the torches flicker, shadows stretching long across the stones. You open your mouth to speak, but before you can, the sound of footsteps echoes through the corridor. Guards approach, their torches flaring. The soldier vanishes into darkness once more, leaving only the scent of dust and danger. You turn toward the approaching light, heart pounding. One guard bows stiffly. "My lady," he says, "the pharaoh requests your presence now." And in that moment, beneath the vast and silent stars, you know the web has tightened. The corridors of the royal palace stretch before you like veins of stone and gold. Torches flicker against painted walls. Scenes of Pharaoh Amenhotep III offering lotus flowers to the gods. But tonight, those same walls seem to watch you. Each painted eye feels alive. You follow the guards silently through the labyrinth, your bare feet soundless against the cool floor. When the heavy doors of the audience chamber open, the air changes. The pharaoh himself waits within. Seated upon his gilded throne, Amenhotep's presence fills the vast hall. He is older now, but his eyes sharp, almost divine, still command the room. Around him stand priests, scribes, and the queen. Ty's gaze meets yours, unreadable. Between them lies a scroll, the royal decree. You kneel low, forehead against the marble. "Rise," the pharaoh commands. His voice is soft, yet it carries the weight of centuries. You stand, feeling every heartbeat echo in your chest. "So," he says, "the daughter of my faithful vizier." His gaze drifts over you, assessing, calculating. "Your marriage has served well to keep peace among the nobles. But tell me, are you loyal to the throne?" You bow again. "With all that I am, my lord." His expression does not change. "Then you will prove it." The room stills. Even the air seems to pause. Ty steps forward slightly, her tone careful. "My lord, she is newly wed." But Amenhotep raises his hand, silencing her. "There is unrest among the temples," he continues. "Priests whisper of gods forgotten and gold withheld. My son prepares to ascend, and already they conspire. I will not allow it." He looks at you now, directly. "You will go to Karnak. You will speak with the high priest of Amen, and you will return with truth. If he serves the gods, all is well. If he serves himself, you will tell me, and only me, a test. A trap, perhaps both." You lower your head. "It will be done, my lord." The pharaoh leans back, satisfied. "See that it is." As you leave the chamber, Ty's voice calls softly after you. "Daughter of Pahari, remember what I told you. Wisdom is bought dearly." You glance back. Her eyes hold both warning and sorrow. You nod once, then step into the cool night air. The journey to Karnak takes days. The royal barge cuts through the Nile's black waters beneath the burning stars. Reeds whisper as the oars move rhythmically. You stand at the railing, the scent of lotus and river mud surrounding you. Horemheb accompanies you, silent but ever watchful. When the barge docks near the great temple complex, the horizon glows with torchlight rows of colossal columns rising like a forest of stone. Karnak, heart of Amen's worship. Here, pharaohs were crowned, priests made kings, and the gods themselves spoke through men. Yet within those walls, ambition often grew louder than devotion. The high priest greets you with a smile carved from courtesy. "Blessings upon the pharaoh's messenger," he says. His voice is smooth, practiced. You bow, concealing your unease. The pharaoh sends his trust. You reply. He seeks assurance that the temple stands loyal to Amen and to him. The priest's smile tightens. "Of course," he says. "We serve the gods, and through them, the living Horus." But his eyes betray him. You see it, the flicker of calculation, the faint glint of defiance. Later, as he leads you through the halls of the temple, you notice something strange. Hidden workers, carving away old inscriptions, replacing Amen's name with another. The Aten, the sun's radiant disk. You stop. "This is forbidden," you whisper. The priest lowers his gaze. "Times change," he murmurs. "The true God rises." Your breath catches. You have heard rumors that the prince, Amenhotep IV, rejects the old gods, proclaiming the Aten as the only divine power. Such heresy could destroy Egypt's order, and Tai's fears suddenly make sense. This was not rebellion against Pharaoh, but within his own bloodline. That night, you cannot rest. You write the truth upon a papyrus scroll, sealing it with wax. As you press your signet into the soft surface, footsteps approach. It is Horemheb. You saw it too, he says quietly. The priests now worship the Aten in secret. You nod. If Pharaoh learns of this, he will strike them down. Horemheb looks away, and if he does not, his son will. The prince already commands loyal followers among the soldiers. You study him carefully. Which side are you on? He meets your gaze. The side that survives. There's no comfort in his honesty, only truth and fear. When dawn comes, you leave Karnak under heavy guard. The scroll rests in your hands, your heart pounding with every stroke of the oars. The Nile gleams like molten gold beneath the sun, yet you feel no warmth. Ahead lies Thebes, and a throne soon to be divided. The palace greets you in uneasy silence. You are led again before the pharaoh, who sits now with visible weariness. Tai stands beside him, her expression unreadable. You kneel, offering the sealed scroll. The high priest serves another, you say. He replaces the name of Amun with Aten. Amenhotep's eyes darken. So it is true, he murmurs. My own son turns from the gods of Egypt. He tears the seal, reading swiftly. When he finishes, he gestures to Horemheb. You will ride at dawn. Remove those who oppose the throne. His tone leaves no room for mercy. Tai steps forward. My lord, if you strike the temples now, you will turn the priests into martyrs. But Amenhotep's gaze hardens. Better martyrs than traitors. You feel the tension between them, thick as smoke. Pharaoh and queen partners. Rivals, bound by duty and distrust. This is the true nature of royal marriage, you realize. Not love, not harmony, but power shared, power tested. That night, Tai summons you privately. Her voice is low, urgent. The gods are shifting, she says. My husband is ill. The prince will soon rule, and he will change everything, even marriage itself. He believes love, not decree, should bind man and woman. You blink in disbelief. Then he is kind. She shakes her head. He is dangerous. A pharaoh who rules by affection invites chaos. Without order, Egypt will fall. You look toward the open balcony, where the moon glows above the desert. The queen's words settle in your heart. Even love, if freed, can destroy empires. When you return to your chamber, you find a sealed note left upon your table. It bears no royal seal, only the mark of a soldier's ring. The queen knows too much. If Pharaoh dies, she will strike first. Choose your allegiance before dawn. The candlelight trembles. Somewhere beyond the walls, the sound of distant drums begins. Slow, steady, ominous. The night before Egypt changes forever. The scent of burning myrrh drifts through the corridor as you step into the House of Women, a secluded palace wing where the pharaoh's chosen brides and daughters dwell. The silence here is thicker than anywhere else in Egypt, a stillness carved by obedience and fear. You hear faint laughter from behind a carved cedar door, followed by the soft echo of a harp. Inside, young noblewomen learn how to serve the gods through their marriages, how to smile with restraint, how to speak with measured sweetness. You pass by murals depicting Hathor, goddess of love and motherhood, her painted eyes seeming to follow you. Yet beneath that gaze lies a quiet truth everyone here knows. Love is not chosen in Egypt. It is decreed. In one chamber, you see a girl no older than 16 seated before a polished copper mirror. A servant braids her hair into long black coils, weaving in threads of lapis and gold. She murmurs, "The pharaoh has spoken. I am to marry his cousin." Her voice doesn't tremble, not because she is brave, but because she knows resistance is useless. Across the room, another woman whispers, "He's twice your age." The girl smiles faintly, her eyes fixed on her reflection. "The gods chose him," she replies, a phrase drilled into every noble woman's mind since childhood. Behind her calm tone, you hear the quiet resignation of generations. You walk further down the hall, where papyrus scrolls lie stacked on alabaster tables. These are marriage contracts, official decrees sealed with the royal ring. Each one begins the same way. "In the name of Horus, the living god. May this union serve the strength of Egypt." You trace the inked hieroglyphs with your finger, imagining the countless lives bound by those sacred lines. Some unions ensured alliances with Nubian princes. Others reinforced ties with Theban priests. Few were born of affection. In these halls, affection was a luxury, one the pharaoh's wives could only dream about, under the moonlight whispering secrets to the stars. A priest enters, his linen robes whispering across the floor. "Prepare the offering," he commands softly. Two attendants carry a silver bowl filled with pomegranate seeds, symbols of fertility. They place it before the statue of Isis, mother of magic and devotion. The priest kneels, murmuring, "May the royal womb bring forth heirs who honor the blood of Ra." You notice his tone, more fearful than reverent. For in Egypt, a barren queen was not only a sorrowful wife, but a threat to the divine order. Her fate, often, was quiet exile to a distant temple. The power to choose a husband was reserved for the highest authority, the pharaoh himself. Even royal daughters were not free. You recall Princess Meritatan, eldest child of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, married off to her own father's successor to preserve the divine bloodline. To question it would have been heresy. To obey was survival. Each royal woman lived a paradox, worshipped as a goddess, yet imprisoned by duty. You watch as one such woman, her eyes rimmed with kohl, presses a lotus flower to her lips, its fragrance masking the sorrow of her coming marriage. Outside, in the court of men, discussions unfold with the weight of kingdoms. Scribes debate dowries, priests debate omens, and generals debate loyalty. But within the harem's walls, women debate silence, when to speak, when to smile, when to pretend. You can almost feel their unspoken grief, as though it lingers in the marble itself. Yet, amid this quiet subjugation, something remarkable persists: resilience. You see it in the way they share bread during festivals, in the secret songs they hum at night, in the gentle prayers they whisper not for power, but for peace. One evening, a young concubine named Nebat slips through a colonnade to leave an offering at the Nile's edge, a simple lotus and a clay figurine. "For love," she whispers. The current carries it away, vanishing into the moonlit river. You watch her linger, her reflection trembling in the water. That small act, forbidden yet pure, becomes her rebellion. Even in a world ruled by pharaohs, where every marriage is dictated by decree, the heart still finds its own way to dream. But dreams come with danger. Days later, the high priest discovers her secret prayer figurine. She is summoned to the inner court, a place where silence reigns heavier than gold. Pharaoh himself speaks. "You prayed for love beyond duty." Nebat lowers her gaze. "Yes, my lord." The court gasps, the air turning brittle. Yet, instead of punishment, Pharaoh only says, "Then may your devotion serve Egypt in another way." She is sent to a temple far from Memphis, not as a prisoner, but as a priestess. In exile, she finds peace in prayer. Her fate becomes a whispered legend among women, that even under divine rule, mercy could bloom where love was forbidden. You feel the desert wind drift through the palace as twilight deepens. Beyond the walls, the Nile glimmers like molten bronze, endless and ancient. Somewhere out there, countless marriages are being arranged. Scribes writing, priests blessing, families bargaining. Yet none of them question why the choice is not theirs. It has always been so, they say always. The gods will it. The pharaoh commands it. Still, as the stars begin to shimmer above Thebes, you can't help but wonder how many hearts were broken in the name of divine order. How many women dreamed of freedom, only to wake beneath a golden crown too heavy to remove. The sound of temple bells drifts through the air, marking another night in the kingdom of Ra, where love is sacred but never free. But dawn approaches, and with it, something begins to shift. Rumors ripple through the court. A queen unlike any before her, one who dares to defy the customs of kings. And soon, her name will change the fate of Egypt's marriages forever. The morning sun spills over the horizon, gilding the Nile in gold. The city of Thebes stirs awake. Priests chant by the temple of Ammon. Merchants open their stalls, and deep within the palace, the scent of lotus oil lingers on silk curtains. But this morning is not like the others. Whispers ripple through the corridors like the hush before a storm. Servants pause, bowing as a royal figure passes the queen herself. Her name is Hatshepsut, daughter of Thutmose I, and her gaze carries the calm of the river and the force of a flood. You walk beside her in imagination, feeling the echo of her sandals against the limestone floor as she enters the Hall of Ancestors. Today, she will challenge what even pharaohs once called unchangeable. Hatshepsut was born into the iron laws of royal marriage. As a princess, she was married to her half-brother, Thutmose II, a union made not of love but of divine logic. To keep the blood of Ra pure, the priests said. Yet behind her quiet eyes burned a mind unwilling to be bound by men's decrees. After her husband's death, she ruled as regent, then dared to declare herself pharaoh. The priests called it blasphemy. The nobles called it chaos. But the people, weary and awed, began to call her Matkare. Truth is the soul of Ra. You can almost see her now, seated upon the golden throne beneath the carved falcon wings of Horus. Around her, the council murmurs in disbelief. A woman cannot be pharaoh, one minister protests. Hatshepsut's voice is steady. Then let Egypt be ruled by truth, not gender. She raises her hand, and the chamber falls silent. The act of her reign is more than politics. It is rebellion against the very structure of power and marriage itself. For in declaring herself pharaoh, she severs the expectation that a woman's authority must flow through a husband. For the first time in living memory, Egypt's throne is not shared. It is hers alone. Through her rule, marriage in Egypt begins to shift, quietly but profoundly. No longer is the queen only a vessel for lineage. She becomes the symbol of divine sovereignty. You imagine the women in the harem hearing her name whispered between sighs and candlelight. Hatshepsut, the pharaoh who needed no king. In marketplaces, common wives look to the temple murals and see her image carved among the gods. Her headdress tall, her chin lifted, her eyes defiant. For them, she becomes a silent question. If she could rule, could we to one day choose? Still, the priests of Ammon watch her closely. They tighten their rituals, rewriting hymns to remind the people that the gods created men to rule and women to obey. Yet Hatshepsut, cunning and devout, uses their own faith against them. She orders the construction of her temple at Deir el-Bahari, a sanctuary so magnificent that even the high priests dare not defy her. You stand there as she lays the foundation stone, the desert wind lifting her linen cloak. This house, she proclaims, will outlive those who doubt me. The workers kneel, the drums beat, and for a moment, the boundaries of gender and decree dissolve under the brilliance of her vision. In her court, the traditions of marriage are rewritten in whispers. Some royal daughters begin to delay their arranged unions, citing sacred duties to the temple or the queen's service. Even noblemen, once proud to bind their daughters to political contracts, start to hesitate. If the gods allow a woman to rule, they murmur, perhaps the gods also allow her to choose. It is a subtle change, barely visible in stone or record, but you can feel it in the air, like the first wind of an unseen storm. Yet history, relentless as the Nile, flows on. After Hatshepsut's death, her stepson, Thutmose III, orders her name erased from monuments, her images chiseled away from temple walls. To the world, it seems as though her defiance is buried with her. The priests restore the old order, declaring once more that marriages are divine decrees, not choices of the heart. Scrolls are sealed, and silence falls again across the land. But as you gaze at the faint outlines of her erased cartouche, you sense something eternal beneath the scarred stone, the echo of a woman who changed what it meant to be bound. Centuries pass, the power of pharaohs fades, but the legacy of their marriages lingers. The Ptolemies, Greek rulers of a later age, adopt the same divine customs. Brother weds sister, queen weds king, always for power, never for love. Yet even then, one name glimmers like an echo of Hatshepsut, Cleopatra. Her charm, intellect, and command over her own alliances will once again challenge what pharaohs believed only gods could decide. You imagine her sailing the Nile beneath a sky of molten gold, her heart as calculating as it is passionate. She too will bend the laws of marriage for Egypt's survival, though it will cost her everything. As night returns to Thebes, you find yourself once again in the halls of memory, surrounded by incense, murals, and the soft hum of eternity. You think of all those women, from nameless concubines to queens of legend, who lived within the golden cage of marriage decreed by pharaohs. They prayed, obeyed, and endured, yet through them Egypt itself endured. Love in their world may have been controlled, but never extinguished. In every whispered prayer, every stolen glance, every act of quiet resistance, the spirit of choice lived on. Now, close your eyes and imagine the river flowing past the ancient temples, wide, eternal, and forgiving. The stars above shimmer like the jewels of forgotten crowns. You hear the faint echo of flutes from a distant festival, the laughter of lovers defying the old gods in the shadow of the pyramids. The pharaohs once controlled every union in Egypt, but not even they could control the timeless human longing to be free. As you drift towards sleep, let that truth settle in your mind like desert sand, that even in the most ordered of kingdoms, the heart remains its own sovereign. And somewhere, across millennia, the women who once lived beneath the weight of divine decree still whisper through the winds of the Nile, "We were never truly silenced." Thank you for listening, dear dreamer. Rest now under the stars that once watched over Egypt's queens. May their courage, their sorrow, and their quiet strength keep you company through the night.